see the police behind me.
And you're ex-militaries. 1st Battalion Grenadier Guards.
Intentionally created by people at the very top. Politicians at the middle level like me, we are given all kinds of excuses.
You said that you've been on the streets for
2.5 years.
His life was worth nothing, so they let him up like a bonfire.
It takes an assault or something major to actually get any progress.
There's a popular saying amongst Brits at the moment, the famous line, you're only one paycheck away from being there yourself, with shocking new research revealing a staggering 39% of Brits have experienced some form of homelessness. Homeless statistics across the country are at an all-time high, with staggering numbers on the streets and hundreds of thousands of British families homeless this Christmas. Today we investigate the UK's homeless crisis. Homelessness comes in many different forms. To best understand this complex issue, I've headed to the worst affected town in the country outside of London to hear from those on the streets and catching up with friend of the channel and leader of homeless charity We Are Humans to find out just how widespread the problem is, culminating in me finally getting the opportunity to interview an elected town councillor as I question what's really going on across our nation. Chapter 1. The UK's shame. The United Kingdom, a nation that prides itself on fairness and compassion, is facing a stark and uncomfortable truth. A shadow has fallen across our nation, a shadow of homelessness that stretches further every day. We see them huddled in doorways, seeking refuge in shop fronts, their lives reduced to a desperate struggle for survival. Hundreds of thousands are trapped in a cycle of despair, their lives defined by uncertainty and fear. The numbers are staggering. Behind the statistics are real people.
And you're ex-militaries. 1st Battalion Grenadier Guards, 25061252. Took a heart attack to get into a HMO, but you know, that's life. How did you end up homeless?
Crappy landlord.
Crappy landlord.
Crappy landlord. I drank too much, I'm not going to lie to you.
Yeah.
No drugs, just I like to tipple.
It's took a near-death experience for him to be treated like a human being and given a safe, warm space to live. And as you see, he had a problem with it, what he describes as a crappy landlord.
You said that you've been on the streets for eight years.
8.5 years. And injured. I wouldn't wish it on anyone. It's very complicated and very deep because once you're out, it's like I've been refused housing, even in a B&B or a guest house. So it puts you off society. You get angry with society, you get angry with everything, with everyone. You see the good side and the bad side, and you see how the whole situation, because you know, with this country we're very kind, aren't we? We bring a lot of people over, give them jobs and everything. But when your own people can't get housed, it could be a problem, and it is a problem. It's a problem every day. But I think the only way I survived the madness and the hell of it, being injured and having to move on every day and move around, not knowing where you're going or where you're going to sleep, or the only way I think I got through it was not drinking or taking drugs.
Yeah, good
and
on
I think
you.
that is the only way I've survived the hell of it.
Chapter 2. How did we get here? The roots of this crisis run deep, stretching back decades, but these figures were put into overdrive from 2020 onward. In a recent study, it revealed 78% of those questioned felt that they were closer to homelessness now than 5 years ago. The decline of social housing, coupled with soaring rents and a cost of living crisis, has left hundreds of thousands, if not millions across the country, priced out of the market. Austerity measures have bitten deep, slashing funding for vital support services. Those already struggling have been pushed further into poverty. A perfect storm of social and economic factors has created a breeding ground for homelessness.
Generally, a majority of it starts with a relationship breakdown. That's where the catalyst starts. And then you're out the house, you're on the street, you're sofa surfing, you're sleeping in your car.
Yeah.
And it just gets worse. You know, you lose your relationship, then goes your job usually is second, if you've got one. It's just like a whirlpool, it just sucks you in. And then your dignity goes, your self-respect goes, and what you're left with in the end.
Without your support and the support of sponsorships, these videos literally wouldn't be possible. I want to say a massive thanks to Manta Sleep for sponsoring today's video. Like millions around the world, one of the hardest things for me after a busy day is unwinding and getting a good night's sleep. I've tried many solutions, but nothing I've tried compares to my Manta Pro Sleep Mask. The Manta Pro Sleep Mask is certainly a step up from my previous sleep mask. Expertly designed to give you the best night's sleep, with a comfortable, lightweight and adjustable design that gives a total blackout. Perfect for you daytime nappers. My favourite features are the hollow area for your eyes, giving 0 eye pressure, stopping that horrible feeling of your eyelashes rubbing on the mask, and just how lightweight this mask is to wear. There's a full range of available designs, including the Manta Sound sleep mask that has built-in slimline Bluetooth headphones for the bedtime podcast listener, and even a range just for kids. Head over to Manta Sleep using the link in the description. Whilst there, be sure to use my discount code JOEFISH to get 10% off at the checkout. And if that doesn't sound good enough, Manta Sleep currently have their biggest sale of the year with a whopping 15% off site-wide, plus a free mystery sleep kit. Check out Manta Sleep using the link in the description, and whilst there, be sure to use my discount code JOEFISH to get 10% off your order. Massive thanks to Manta Sleep for sponsoring today's video. This is one of the squatted areas. You can see that homeless are actually inhabiting that vehicle there. These are just some of the conditions that the homeless in and amongst Bournemouth are having to live amongst.
Hello. So
I'll make a donation to you. There it is.
thank you very, very much. I will spend that
Good luck
very
for you.
wise walking
Community,
around the
mate.
streets.
That's it.
It's the authorities that are the problem, not the people.
No, man of the people, Andy, mate. Man of the people.
The people are beautiful. So
Yeah.
this is
So we're in the Christmas market at the moment.
we're in the Christmas market. Get a load of this. So we came down here a couple of weeks ago, and we were doing similar food to the most popular food here, but we were doing it for free for the homeless.
Nice.
So we're going to look at the prices. We gave it away free,
Yeah.
and we gave
that's what I
lots of
got.
it away free. So
Let's have a look
let's
at
have a look at the price list.
So you got.
Oh, mate.
All right, so
Hello,
How you
mate.
doing? What's your video name, your YouTube name?
Joe Fish.
That's it. I've seen you on YouTube.
Oh, bless you, mate. Thank you ever so much.
I recognise you in your talk. You've obviously doing a video about the homeless.
Bless you, mate. Thank
Well
you.
done to you.
Oh, bless you, man.
Your channel's good.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it, mate. Thank you.
your house, yeah, still no.
Yeah, no. But
How's the toilet?
It could be. They're all right. Yeah, I'm not in there at the minute.
You know.
But no. But
Right, so-
I'm sort of on the seafront.
I've got sleep pods.
Yeah, you were saying.
Yeah. Are you going to
okay.
come up and grab
All
one?
right, yeah.
It's much warmer than.
Yeah.
It'll save your life in the cold weather.
That's
So where are you sleeping at the moment? Are you in a tent on the seafront?
right. No, just outside by the toilets. Yeah.
Mate, it was freezing last
Yeah.
night. How'd you manage?
Yeah, it's I've got a bag. I'm all right. I just keep warm and that. I'm okay.
Bless you,
All
brother.
right. Yeah, it's the rain that's the worst.
Yeah,
the
and that's
worst
where
thing.
the sleep pod will really help you as well,
Yeah.
being waterproof.
Yeah. It's all right when it's dry. I can cope with the coldness and everything, but it's the rain.
When you're
It's
wet
the-
through, I can imagine it's.
Yeah, it's
Oh.
not great.
If you want to walk up
No.
to Boscombe today, I'll sort you with a sleep pod today.
Okay, all right then. Don't see anyone for ages. Yeah, we'll them two come at once.
Still smiling, brother.
Right, I'll see you later. Come
Okay.
grab a sleep pod off us. Are you alright, dude?
Thanks, mate.
These are the public toilets that often it's the only place that they can sleep.
Yeah. One's a beautiful place.
Yes.
You know, very affluent,
Yeah.
very upmarket, very nice.
But it's now got some of the biggest disparities in wealth across the country.
Yeah, but 51% of people are living in extreme poverty. Let's go in and have a look at these.
Let's have a look at
toilets.
these. So you can see this is where a lot of the homeless folk are having to stay. The cubicles like this. Oh, it's certainly got a bit of a smell about the place.
The smell's beautiful.
Yeah, and so this is often this is the best of a bad bunch for
Yeah.
homeless folk, isn't it?
Yeah, this is open till around 10 o'clock at night.
Chapter 3, a statistical nightmare. The true scale of the UK's homeless crisis is laid bare by the cold, hard statistics. Rough sleeping numbers are at an all-time high, with a shocking increase of over 15% since last year alone. But this is just the tip of the iceberg. Over 120,000 families languish in temporary accommodation, while a further 320,000 households are facing homelessness in the immediate future. These are British families, often with young children, trapped in uncertainty and despair. This is the bleak reality for over 150,000 children in England alone.
You know, there's much more homelessness and rough sleeping, as we've alluded to. There's families stuck in hotel rooms, having to spend all their money on overpriced takeaway food that's shite. having to drag the kids from one end to the other. They're usually there for 6 weeks and then they'll move them to somewhere else.
Yes, you touched on that.
Because by law they can only keep them in a temporary accommodation for a certain amount of time.
So
by their laws.
So every 6 weeks, they're moved to a different
every 6 weeks
location.
they've been moved on to a different, another new B&B, another new travel lodge room. Yeah.
And oftentimes you'll have a whole family
In one room.
And we've spoke about that there's a family of a father, his 3 children, 2 of which are in their teenage years.
Living in a bedsit.
Living in a bedsit, one room.
Since lockdown.
So for 4 years they've been living in.
Yeah, and they're on the scale, but housing is not helping. You know, I think they're just waiting until they can reach the 18 years of age with one of them and reduce the housing and go, you know what, he's 18, he can find his own place, and he'll probably end up on the streets.
Yeah.
Reality of it is.
That's the reality of the situation.
This is Martha, one of our local buskers.
Ah, okay.
Martha busked for us last Christmas in
Did
our
she?
shop, Christmas Day. Done an amazing job, and our guys really loved her.
Yeah.
Martha, how are you?
I'm good, how are you?
Good, good, good.
So I've just been joined, Aaron, been introduced by Andy. So tell me, mate, you were on the streets and you were recently attacked.
Yeah, I was homeless for, well, I got released from prison with nowhere to go. And then I was sitting in the park about, I think, Sunday, and someone come up and kicked me in the face randomly. I went to the hospital. The people in the hospital said, like, do not leave, do not get discharged until you got given somewhere to go. And that is the only reason why that I've been given somewhere. But I've been given somewhere now, and it takes an assault or something major to actually get any progress or any, you know, it seems to be the normality around here at the moment.
Well, thank you for telling your story, Aaron.
Yeah, no, thank you.
Really appreciate it, boss. Thank you, mate.
It's harsh, lad.
It is harsh. There does seem to be a number of violent attacks against the homeless community.
Yeah. We've got one here. I sent you the news report.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Ralphie, friend of mine, big issue seller.
Yeah.
No mischievous phone in his body. He used to sell a big issue that was lived in a tent. Got kicked to death over a rollie he didn't have by 5 or 6 teenagers, girls and boys. It was a prolonged attack as well, over several hours. The news report said that they went back and rammed trolleys into him after his corpse was lifeless as well.
Oh my goodness.
They got less than 10 years between them all. That man lost his life.
That's disgusting.
And they've gone on to create even more crime thereafter. That's kind of assault on homeless. I had a friend up in Manchester several years ago. He went on a stag night to Warrington. He missed his last bus, fell asleep in the bus station. Someone local to Warrington decided to douse him in petrol, cover him in cardboard and set him on fire. He's disfigured for the rest of his life, and that was on his stag night. Just because he missed his bus. He weren't even homeless, he just missed his bus.
But they obviously assumed that he were being on the bench.
And his life was worth nothing, so they let him up like a fucking bonfire.
Shit.
In the middle of a bus station.
It may come as no surprise that homeless people are more likely to die young, but just how young is shocking. With an average age of death of just 45 years old, it is important to note that this is not life expectancy, it is the average age of death of those who die on the streets or while resident in homeless accommodation. At the ages of 16 to 24, homeless people are at least twice as likely to die as their housed contemporaries. For 25 to 34 year olds, the ratio increases to around 4.5 times, and at the age of 35 to 44, up to a shocking 6 times more likely to die than the general population. As these findings clearly indicate, homelessness leads to premature and increased mortality. Ultimately, homelessness kills. These are mothers, fathers, sons, daughters, friends and loved ones, each passing a tragedy. You'd spent around about 3 months on the streets.
Yeah, just after my birthday, I became homeless. My flat was repossessed.
How were the few months that you did spend on the streets?
It's been a living hell, but it's also made me like mentally strong in a weird kind of a way. I'm glad for the experience because I now feel like when I'm in a position to, I'd like to help people that are also in positions who are down on their luck. And you know, it's not always people's fault. Sometimes life kicks you when you're down. You can have a run of bad luck, and before you know it, you know, I had a flat, I had a car, I had a good job, I had all that, and I ended up on the streets.
Yeah.
So
you said you're a scaffolder by trade, so you're a tradesman.
yeah,
you know,
30 years scaffolding, was earning £200 a day, earning good money. You know, I had some bad life experiences. I had a terrible ex who ran away with my son. I haven't seen him in 4 years. My dad died of cancer. I had a breakdown. Before you knew it, they repossessed my flat. I couldn't work because emotionally I was broken.
And the leading cause of homelessness is the breakdown in a relationship.
Yeah.
And it leads to fellas like yourself.
Family grief.
Exactly,
yeah,
mate.
Yeah. I became a little bit agoraphobic. I didn't leave the flat, so I couldn't turn up to universal credit appointments. They didn't pay me any money. But anyway, that's in the past. I'm looking forward now. Chin's up in the air, back together. I'm inside, and I'm in a good place. I'd love to help people that are in my situation, homeless people, people with addiction problems, addicts, and people that are down on their luck, because certain people like Andy who've gone out their way and gone the extra mile, also Chris from St Mungo's, he's really helped me, and I'd love to do the same for somebody someday and help people. I'd love to work
It's inspiring, isn't it? Meeting characters like Andy.
So inspiring. He's so much good, not only for the homeless but for the whole community.
Yeah.
He helps everybody. He doesn't discriminate.
So you're sleeping in one of the sleep pods.
Yes.
I got in one of those myself the other day.
Yeah.
They are life saving.
Like, in this weather, life saving, absolutely. It's so easy to get exposure when you're not only when you're cold and wet. Yeah. To get hypothermia, you could easily die of hypothermia or exposure in those kind of conditions. Those sleep pods are life saving.
Brilliant, mate.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Well, they'll be coming back with me, and I'll be handing them out in the community there.
Fantastic.
Awesome,
God bless
boss.
you.
Thank you so much for your time.
You're welcome.
But I wouldn't recommend it on anyone, and I don't know how I'm going to get out of it yet.
Bless you.
Because I've been in it a long time, but I've seen the heaven and the hell of the world now.
Yeah.
And I kind of understand what's going on in the world. But it's not right. There's not a balance. There's not a balance between good and bad. It seems to be all for the baddies and not the goodies.
Got it.
So I've had an adventure.
Out in the streets of Bournemouth. It's been a major fire or some sort of incident taking place. You can see the road's been blocked off. Absolutely craziness. As you can see, the road's been blocked off. You can see the police behind me. Clearly a major incident. Crazy. Chapter 4. Is there an end in sight? You can see the community pantry out. Shoes out, loads of cornflakes today. Bread rolls, there's tons of food inside. Busy one today, Andy?
Always busy.
Really busy today.
The way we like it.
Yeah.
Just a little bit of humanity.
That's it, mate.
Helping people.
Yeah, got sausage baps on the menu as well, first thing
Nice
this morning.
hot sausage baps for them, warm them up in this cold weather. Cups of teas, coffees, fresh fruits and vegetables, tin dried ambience, goods, cereals, bread cakes, even shoes out for the guys.
Yeah, shoes out to got, well needed though in this weather at the moment, isn't it?
Yeah, it was a very wet night last night. That was who you are, I think.
Yeah.
Was the last one. Take the boots.
It has to be said, credit where, what's this here? Credit where credit's due.
Yeah.
It wasn't for you boys, I don't know what to do. It really is a godsend in there. Particularly the Christmas coming up and all that. It's fantastic. And I know you do go above and beyond. So I just like to say thanks.
Yeah, you were just telling Andy then that life's changed for you.
That's what you guys have done for me, and I've got no shame in admitting I was an alcoholic and addict and that, and you know I still struggle, but I'm here.
Every day's a battle, lad.
And at the end of the day, mate, you've known me for years now, and you've seen me go through the highs and lows. Anyone can do it, and this man can.
In these faces that you've changed their lives, Andy.
Yeah.
How does that feel for you?
And as you say, for years and years, I've seen him fall, I've seen him get back up. As I say, I don't get paid, but I do get paid.
Yeah,
that's the best payment in the world ever. The fact that, you know, you've changed someone.
Yeah.
You've got them into a better place. the functioning again. You know, life can always be better.
Yeah.
If you've got the willingness and wants to get there. Without the volunteers by the legions, from the people who collect the surplus food from supermarkets, we have a whole team that just do that. From the guys that come out doing the street feeds to the guys that run the community cafe.
Yeah.
You know,
It's a whole wider team, isn't it?
yeah. Joe Fish, meet Joe Salmon.
Yeah, nice to meet you, mate, and thank you ever so much for reaching out. It says a whole lot about you. So, Joe, with Bournemouth having more homeless than anywhere else in the UK outside of London, in your opinion, why is the BCP area so badly affected?
And I think it's important to make an important distinction. There are people who are homeless, there are people who are rough sleepers.
Yes, totally.
So I think we've got a big community of rough sleepers, and that builds up and that snowballs. I think part of the problem is, though, it's very easy to come to Bournemouth and be blind to it, you know, and not see it, or to work in Bournemouth to be one of the elected officials. Because actually, if you're doing what Andy does, and if you do the kind of journalistic work that you do, you can absolutely see the scale of the problem. But conversely, if you don't want to engage with this problem, actually you can really sweep it under the rug, which I think happens an awful lot in politics at the moment. So it's a big problem that when people like me and you make a noise about this, actually the scale of the problem is denied. And that's because for a lot of people, the problem doesn't touch them. And they read all the stories in the Daily Mail, and maybe they'll walk past somebody in a sleeping bag, or somebody with their hat out and all of that. And I think it's very easy for people to be in denial about the scale of the problem at the moment. I think there are lots of people who simply don't see the problem. The problem absolutely exists, but there's a certain cohort of rough sleepers who are identified as low priority or low risk and with no local connection. For them, there really is no more safety net anymore. And that's because the services that previously provided that safety net are just at capacity. Because when you take somebody in off the streets now, there's nowhere for them to move on to. They can't move into a private rental flat or anything like that, because that is outside of pretty much everybody's price range. The other housing options that the council used to be able to provide are at capacity as well. And because there's that shortage, because there's that blockage, it backs up and you see the number of rough sleepers increase and increase and increase. But you can be in denial about it as a politician. The incumbent mayor at the time was speaking, and somebody asked about what is being done about rough sleepers, and he went, and videos on YouTube, you can see his response, and he says something like, and a lot of them are ex-army. And his implication there was not, oh, these are people who are ex-soldiers who we have a duty to house. He was like, oh no, they're just used to it, they love roughing it, you know? They're just really keen camping enthusiasts. Almost as if that political class can be in total denial about the scale of the problem and the plight these people are in. It's not just our forgotten heroes, they've not been forgotten, you know? People are very aware these people, sorry, maybe I'm being unfair. Officialdom is very aware, the system is very aware these people exist, and they've been made homeless intentionally. The amount of homelessness, the amount of rough sleepers in this country, it is not a problem created by the system not working properly. It is the system working as intended. Homeless people have to exist, rough sleepers have to exist as a threat to everybody else working in the economy. So if you do kick off, you know, if you do complain about conditions at your job, you know, if you do try and start a union, if you do complain about the state of your flat that you're renting, they can point out, well, look at the alternative. You know, there is no safety net. It is intentional that these people on the streets, they've not just been forgotten, it's intentionally created by people at the very top, and then the politicians at the middle level like me. We are given all kinds of excuses to pretend the problem doesn't exist. I've got a normal full-time job as well. I work in the NHS, but as a councillor, I'm not in the administration. And so our job outside of the administration is to scrutinise the decisions that are being made and to challenge them. There was a paper on healthcare for the homeless, so we went through that paper and we made a few recommendations. One of them was that so there is a new strategy being developed by BCP Council, will begin being developed in 2025. The bureaucratic details of how the council function are really Byzantine, you know, absolutely Kafkaesque as to how it gets done. But that will be the opportunity for people like Andy to really feed into what's being done and to be able to do more as part of that official service, because that's what we really need. We need people like you who are on the front line, ready to get their hands dirty, things like that. And who are
connected to the people that need these services.
And I think the connection is key, because what does happen, unfortunately, with anybody who's worked in a kind of caring role or with mental health, and one of the things that happens is you hear so many terrible things, so many stressful things, that you have to harden. Yeah, you have to be able to develop a level of stoicism. And I think the problem is, if you have a situation where those services aren't being regularly looked at, that stoicism really sets in. And actually, because everything is being so run down, the cuts are constantly happening, the only people who can survive in that system have to really be able to harden their hearts to the fact that, look, I know that there are going to be 10 people who I speak to today who all need a bed, and I'm only going to be able to sort out a bed for one of them. You know? And actually, I need to be mentally strong enough to do that, not just today, but for the next year. And that takes a very special person. I'm not looking to slag off anybody else working in the sector at the moment, but I think actually we do need fresh people who are down in the trenches like Andy.
I hate to ask this question, but do you think that things are going to get worse before they get better?
I think it depends what you mean by worse and better, yeah? So I think the scale of the challenge is going to get progressively worse. So one of the things that we struggle with at the moment is the SWEP, the severe weather emergency protocol. Now when that comes on, the need is met by almost entirely volunteers, all of that extra capacity, all of those organisations like St Mungo's, like We Are Humans. That extra capacity, there's no money for that to deal with the fact that the wind has got really bad, the heavy rain, yellow weather warnings, all of that. And those services can't maintain that for very long. And actually there will be some service users who you'll meet, some rough sleepers who you'll meet, who will be quite critical of the way it's executed. I would also say though that I do think things are going to get better, because people like Andy, I couldn't meet someone like Andy, quite as easily as I have now, 10 years ago, 20 years ago. I think there is a genuine groundswell of people who are coming together. We're coordinating much better than we have before. I mean, I've been trying to get a foot in the door in local politics since 2014. No chance. It's if you wear the right colour rosette, you get in. And the corruption in politics that creates has been endemic. And actually now you can see that's being tackled. You can see the success of parties who don't have a red or a blue rosette on. A real change to the political landscape. And what you can also see is a lot of this stuff that's gone on in the past being dragged into the light. I mean, we've reached a tipping point politically in this country where you are seeing a rejection of the traditional political parties and traditional politics, and people who are taking it into their own hands in this way and going, I'll tell you what, if you're not going to sort out the fact that there are these people sleeping rough on my streets, if you're not going to sort out the fact that we can't travel safely to and from work, if you're not going to sort out the fact that I can't afford groceries anymore, I am going to band together with people in my community and we will come up with a solution. And I think that change is coming, and I want to be part of that change and help drive that change forward.
Let me know in the comments below what you think is the leading factor behind the UK's homeless crisis. As always, remember to like, comment and subscribe. I'll see you on the next one.